Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. We have some breaking news around transfers, and it is to do with outgoings, of course. We're going to start with Folarin Balogun. We do have an update on Matt Turner. We want to discuss Mohammed Kudus of Ajax as well, because it looked like he was set for Brighton. That might still be the case, but there's a little bit to explore there in a second. Let's talk about Folarin Balogun. According to David Ornstein, a bid from Monaco has been rejected. I've got some of the news on the reports here, and Adrian Kajumba's come in as well with that, saying Arsenal have rejected an offer from Monaco for Folarin Balogun, as reported by David Ornstein, with the Gunners still holding out for a £50 million fee. Inter hold an interest in Balogun, but are hoping to land the striker within their budget of $35 million. $50 million for Balogun. I don't think that's unreasonable.
It's not, but it also depends on suitors. At the end of the day, if you're looking to sell a player, you can only work off who's interested. And if teams that are not really financially up there are the only teams interested, like a Monaco, to be honest, like Inter Milan and a lot of Serie A clubs, I think you're going to have to make do with what the offer is, if I'm honest with you. I think, especially considering I want another player in at Arsenal, I'd like to get some outgoings out of the way and get some money in. So, if their budget is 35, we're asking for 50, why don't we try and agree on 40, 42.5? And I think both parties would be pretty much happy with that.
It worries me that when I read these reports, it feels like it's a case of, no, really, we can only do 35 million. Like, I think there is more money in the Premier League, we know that. So we can't always judge how we're selling our players by what we're buying our players for, because market, supply, demand, all that, all plays a part. But I just look at, was it Gonzalo Ramos, just went to PSG, had a good World Cup, a good season for Benfica, and he's going for 60-something million, and you think, Balogun in the French league has scored a load of goals, 20 plus goals. He's coming from Arsenal Football Club. He's been well coached, and he's ready. He's 21 years old. You're not signing an 18, 19-year-old prospect here. He's, I think, 21 years old. He can come in. I'm going to check that now. But he can do a job, and I don't mind Arsenal's strategy, even if they never get the 50 million. I don't mind their strategy of holding out as long as possible for that, because he's got 2 years left on his contract. Quite frankly, I think you can get 35 million for him next summer anyway.
Yeah, I mean, as long as holding back doesn't have an impact on any other business we want to do coming in. Yeah. And it's a case of, similar to the David Raya deal, where we know Turner's on the way out, so we're making bids for Raya kind of thing. Then I don't mind that. You play the game. I get that with the foresight that you will agree to something later down the line. Yeah. We'll see how that one goes. So I'm with you there, but then you mentioned PSG and Ramos, and then I'll ask the question, why weren't PSG interested in Balogun? Because they firsthand would have saw what he was doing last year in the French league. So that makes me think, I don't know, does his profile suit the biggest and best teams in the world? I guess not, hence why it's kind of the tier 3 clubs that are after him.
You've asked a great question there, because Balogun has gone and done what... He's gone and done more than a lot of young strikers do. Yeah. Look at what Højlund's just joined Man United for. And Balogun's just gone and scored, like I said, a load of goals in the league. I haven't got the exact number, but it's in the 20s. Not far off the Kylian Mbappe's in the French league. And yet, there doesn't seem to be that same reputation, that same, this is one of the hottest prospects, in terms of strikers in European football. And I wonder why. Is it because Arsenal and Arteta and their stance on him has maybe lowered it a little bit?
Potentially, but also you look at modern day strikers and what they're asked to do now, and I think, judging by, the landscape of football now and the biggest teams, link-up play is as important as putting it in the back of the net.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Or certain attributes are as important as putting it in the back of the net, especially for the biggest and best teams and competing for the major trophies. So maybe that's what lets him down in that sense, whereas with Rasmus Højlund, I haven't seen much of him at all, minutes at that. He is someone that has the technical ability to, bring the ball down, link up with the wingers cutting in. He can also, make some space for himself. So he's got a bit of, everything needed for a modern day striker. Whether he becomes a success or not, that's a whole different debate to have. Whereas Balogun's more of a old school type. And when I mean old school, I mean maybe dating 10 years back, not too long ago, where he wants to run in behind. He's looking at the spaces off the shoulders of the defenders. So,
yeah, I'm there to score.
Yeah, whereas
Make it happen for me.
Biggest and best team now are possession dominated. Yeah. They're playing against teams 90% of the season that are going to have a low block. strikers like Balogun in a low block tend to get stifled a hell of a lot. So I think that probably has a part to play too.
It was 21 goals in Ligue 1, by the way. So yeah, he had a very impressive campaign.
I'll go back to Inter and say 35 million is all you got. Your brass, well, we'll give you 30 million and Balogun and give us Lautaro. There's some money for you and a striker. Younger, you could potentially sell him in a few years. We get a ready-made striker. I didn't entertain it at the least.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Lautaro Martinez, should we be opening that discussion? Yeah, we'll see what happens with Balogun because this Monaco offer came out of nowhere. David Ornstein dropped this in and suddenly said, Monaco interested.
How much was it?
I actually don't know.
Okay, he hasn't, okay, cool.
Well, it'd help if I turned up into these videos a bit more research. But no, as far as I'm aware...
No, Ornstein didn't say it, then everyone else is going to predict off the back of his tweet anyway, so...
Yeah, it wasn't anything off the... Yeah, there was nothing in the tweet. Arsenal reject written bid from Monaco for Folarin Balogun, he said. Verbal offer was turned down. Was it written or verbal? Anyway. Yeah, pursuit ongoing. Sporting directors have a good relationship. Inter still keen, but unclear if they can afford. Let's see. I'll have a look to see if there's anything more in this article. But okay, what about Matt Turner, who's about to join Nottingham Forest for 10 million? I was talking to Tom Canton on the Gooner Talk, just via Twitter, and I said, because it's like 17 million net spend on David Raya, it's looking like something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's great business.
Yeah.
But I don't think 10 million alone for Matt Turner. I think we could have got to 12, 15. But there's an opportunity. You don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
You want to get it done. He's only been here a year. It's fine. Like ultimately, I like the squad building a lot.
Yeah.
But if you're going through the very minor details that ultimately maybe we shouldn't even care about, 10 million is about the bare minimum I'd have been happy with.
Yeah, I mean, with Turner, I expected to get up to 15 million.
Yeah.
But, and then I counted that with the expected cost of Raya, which at the time seemed to be 30, 35 if they was asking for 40. Now you hear 25, 27 could be the deal agreed.
Yeah.
I don't really mind too much. It's just funny how with some players and some positions, we don't mind letting go, whether it's cutting a contract or whether it's just, Leno on a 4 million deal or Turner on a 10. And some positions we haggle over, maybe like a Balogun who we just spoke about. It's weird to me, like it's not something concerning, but it's just,
I know what you mean. Some transfers operate so differently.
Yeah.
There are some clubs or some transactions where they seem so seamless. Look at Jurgen Timber and Ajax. What do we pay? 37, 40 million?
Yeah.
If we pay 60 million, I wouldn't think we overpaid.
Yeah, that's for what we're seeing now and what we've heard and read about him and seen of him. I think probably 50 to 60 mil is his market value.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah.
Show some love to Jurgen Timber in the comment section.
Pre-season star so far.
Oh, he's been unbelievable. That performance against Man City was unbelievable. Touching on that, so with Matt Turner leaving for around 10 minutes to Nottingham Forest, just on him, I don't think we saw enough for him last season, but what we did see, I can't say I was ever overly convinced. Nice guy. I hope he remains the USA #1. And actually, I'm glad he's going to be in the Premier League. I'm actually really excited to see him over 38 games. I think it'll be interesting to see how well he does. I think with the World Cup in the coming years and all that, I can understand him wanting to, at the age of 26, 27, I think, if I'm not making that up, I can understand why he wants to be a regular. David Raya coming in as well. That's on the brink, we're hearing. And then I think some people, Arsenal fans, doing their usual FBI stuff.
Oh yeah.
Caught a picture of him in a cap. I think if that picture is real. But
where?
At Wembley.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was at Wembley.
No, it wouldn't. Apparently the deal was close, so.
Yeah, well, there you go. What about Kudus? We just talked about, the bargain we feel we've got from Ajax or Jurgen Timber. David Ornstein revealed exclusively that Brighton have agreed a fee with Ajax, and I'm not trying to say that that deal's not happening. I think it will happen. I think he'll ultimately say yes to that, but I don't know if agreeing a fee was ever going to be Brighton's biggest hurdle in this, because they've recouped a lot of money over the years. They had a great season last year. They're in Europe. And Ajax, when we're talking about the kind of fees, around 30 to 40 million, I would always think a Brighton could do that. Yeah. So they've matched the fee, but now we're hearing it's kind of personal terms. And then there are some reports saying that Kudus hasn't sort of given it the green light and Ajax want to move this along. We know that Arsenal and Chelsea have been linked. And we know that Arsenal want him or have wanted him. I don't know, where do we stand with this? I mean, I've kind of made my peace with it now that he's going to Brighton, but it's not a fully done deal yet.
No, it's not. You know, the fee I think is a great fee to agree on, because I think he has the potential to be a great player. But maybe when you look at it, Ajax to Brighton in football in terms is a step down. When you look at the competitions, Ajax are in, they can win the league, they can compete in the Champions League, they can be there. Brighton are not. But it's a step up if we're talking financially. So maybe, you know, the approach from Kudus is, all right, if I'm going to go to this club, then I want to be paid a bit more handsomely, because they're not a Champions League club. It's maybe a side step, a backward step more than anything. So pay me, you know, what I want.
That's interesting.
Or it's a case where he doesn't entertain it because he thinks maybe an Arsenal are interested or another club are interested, and in a couple of weeks he expects a bid to be made. Okay, so what would that tell? We know that Arteta and Edu, they're always like, we only sign players who want to be here. Not just, we're happy to be here, we want to be at Arsenal. With this fee agreed, if Kudus doesn't ultimately go ahead with that move, is that sending the signals to Arteta and Edu, like, I'm committed? Like, make this happen, I'm committed? It could be. Who's reported the interest in Kudus from Arsenal? There was either the Times or the Telegraph, and Romano spoken about it too. Okay, so there have been some. You know, there might be something there. Yeah, you know what? I'm not too sure. I mean, Brighton are a good club to go to if you're a young player. Great club to go to. But I also think he's a player that is probably looking for the step up. Yeah. And that's maybe where his head lies. And if there is potential interest from Arsenal, if he's heard through the grapevine, if he's been contacted, then turning down a Brighton would bode well in the eyes of an Arteta or an Edu. Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe. Let us know in the comment section below your thoughts on all the latest transfer news. What do you think Arsenal should be accepting when it comes to the Folarin Balogun bids? We know that Monaco have now entered the race. Inter Milan have been there as well. And there were rumours that West Ham, Crystal Palace and other clubs in the Premier League were keeping an eye as well. And of course the Premier League clubs come in and suddenly there's maybe a little bit more of a bidding war, and Arsenal might get... It's funny, we're on the West Ham side of this now. Yeah. I would find it quite funny if West Ham came knocking. Balogun? Oh yeah, Balogun, yeah? 70 million we'll chuck in Tavares. Yeah. Alright, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Thank you for keeping up with all our updates. We'll be keeping you up to date with everything that's happening here on AFTV. Big thanks to Turkish. Love, bro. And go check out all the content that's come out from the Community Shield as well. We'll see you very soon.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.